We often think we know why people act the way they do, but the truth is, the mind operates in ways that are not always obvious. Our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions are influenced by underlying forces we might not fully understand. Let's explore some fascinating psychology facts that might change the way you think about human behavior. 1. Your brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Humans are naturally drawn to experiences that bring pleasure and avoid those that cause pain. This is part of the brain's survival mechanism, which evolved to help humans avoid harm. The reward system in your brain releases feel-good chemicals like dopamine when you experience something pleasurable, motivating you to repeat that behavior. On the flip side, negative experiences trigger a pain response that motivates you to steer clear of potentially harmful situations. This dynamic plays a huge role in everything from personal choices to decision-making. 2. People are more likely to act impulsively when they are under stress. When you're under stress, your brain shifts into survival mode, and the decision-making process can become less rational. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for logic and reasoning, doesn't function as efficiently during high-stress situations. This makes people more likely to make quick, impulsive decisions without fully thinking through the consequences. This is why some people make poor choices when they're emotionally or physically stressed, as their brain focuses on short-term relief rather than long-term outcomes. 3. Your mind is constantly making assumptions about the world. The human brain is always trying to make sense of the world by filling in the gaps. We rely on assumptions and mental shortcuts to navigate daily life quickly. These assumptions are based on past experiences, beliefs, and learned patterns, and they help us make decisions without overthinking everything. However, these shortcuts can sometimes lead to biased thinking, as we rely on what we already know rather than taking in new information or perspectives. It's important to recognize when our brains are making assumptions so we can challenge them and avoid making snap judgments. 4. People tend to find others more attractive when they're smiling. Smiling is universally recognized as a sign of friendliness, warmth, and openness. When someone smiles, they appear more approachable and trustworthy, which makes them more attractive to others. Studies show that we're instinctively drawn to people who smile because it signals a positive, non-threatening attitude. Smiling not only enhances your appearance in the eyes of others, but it also has the power to boost your own mood by releasing feel-good chemicals like endorphins. 5. The way you perceive time can change your behavior. How you perceive time can greatly influence how you act. For instance, people who view time as a limited resource, those who focus on deadlines, goals, and efficiency, tend to prioritize tasks and avoid procrastination. On the other hand, those who perceive time as more abundant or who have a relaxed attitude towards it may struggle with time management. Our perception of time shapes how we approach tasks, make decisions, and organize our lives, making it a key factor in productivity and stress management. 6. People are more likely to forgive when they understand the other person's perspective. Empathy plays a huge role in forgiveness. When you can see the situation from another person's point of view, it becomes easier to forgive them for their mistakes or wrongdoings. Your brain releases oxytocin when you feel empathy, which promotes feelings of connection and understanding. This emotional bond helps reduce negative emotions like anger or resentment, making it easier to let go of grudges. Understanding someone else's reasons or struggles can lead to more compassionate reactions. 7. Your mood can influence how you perceive the world around you. Your emotional state has a powerful impact on your perception of events and people. When you're in a positive mood, you tend to see the world in a more optimistic light, focusing on opportunities and solutions. Conversely, when you're feeling down or stressed, you're more likely to notice problems or obstacles. This is why two people can experience the same event, but one may see it as a challenge while the other views it as a setback. The brain filters information based on current emotions, which can color your interpretation of reality. 8. People are more likely to believe information if it confirms their existing beliefs. Known as confirmation bias, this psychological tendency leads people to seek out or believe information that supports their pre-existing views while dismissing evidence that contradicts them. This bias can affect everything from political opinions to personal beliefs, and is one of the reasons why people can become so entrenched in their viewpoints. The brain seeks consistency and coherence, and when new information aligns with what we already think, it feels more comfortable and easier to accept. 9. People are more influenced by scarcity than abundance. The scarcity principle states that people place higher value on things that are scarce or hard to get. This is why limited time offers or rare items tend to attract more attention and drive demand. The brain perceives scarcity as a signal of value or importance, which increases desire. Whether it's limited edition products or exclusive opportunities, scarcity can trigger a sense of urgency and motivate people to act quickly, even when they may not need the item. 10. Your brain tends to focus on the negative in social interactions. Negative experiences, especially in social situations, have a more profound impact than positive ones. This is due to the brain's inherent negativity bias, which evolved to help humans detect and respond to threats quickly. When you receive criticism or negative feedback, your brain registers it as a potential danger and tends to focus on it more than any positive reinforcement. This is why negative comments or experiences often stay with us longer than positive ones, and why we can be so sensitive to social rejection. 11. Your brain reacts more to stress than it does to pleasure. While positive experiences can trigger a pleasurable response, stress activates the brain's fight-or-flight system much more intensely. This heightened response is a survival mechanism designed to help us deal with danger. However, chronic stress can have a long-term negative impact, disrupting mental health, memory, and cognitive function. Over time, persistent stress can make the brain more reactive to perceived threats, affecting overall well-being. 12. People who help others are more likely to feel happier. Acts of kindness don't just benefit the recipient, they also make the giver feel better. When you help someone, your brain releases oxytocin, the hormone responsible for creating feelings of bonding and happiness. This is why people who volunteer or consistently help others report higher levels of satisfaction and overall happiness. Helping others not only strengthens social connections, but also boosts your own sense of well-being. 13. The placebo effect shows the power of belief in healing. The placebo effect demonstrates just how powerful the mind can be in influencing physical health. When people believe they are receiving a treatment, whether it's a sugar pill or a fake procedure, they often experience real improvements in their symptoms. This happens because the brain expects a positive outcome, and that belief alone triggers the body's healing processes. It's a reminder of how much our mindset can impact our health and how powerful belief can be. 14. People often make decisions based on emotions, not logic. Emotions play a huge role in decision-making, often outweighing logic or reason. When faced with a choice, the brain processes emotions before analyzing the facts. This is why people often make decisions based on how they feel in the moment, rather than what's most rational or practical. Emotional decision-making can sometimes lead to mistakes, but it also allows us to quickly react in situations where immediate action is needed. 15. Your brain is constantly filtering out information. Every day, your brain processes a massive amount of information. To prevent being overwhelmed, it filters out most of the details that are deemed unimportant or irrelevant. This is why you can focus on one thing while tuning out background noise. However, this filtering process can also lead to biases and errors in perception, as your brain only picks up on the information that fits its established patterns and beliefs. 16. People tend to remember negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. Due to the brain's negativity bias, negative events tend to stick in our minds longer than positive experiences. This bias developed as an evolutionary mechanism to help humans survive by focusing on potential threats or dangers. While happy moments can fade into the background, painful or upsetting experiences are often burned into memory. This is why negative feedback or criticism can have a longer-lasting impact than praise. 17. You can become addicted to stress. Stress in small doses can be motivating, but prolonged exposure to stress can lead to addiction. The body releases cortisol and adrenaline in response to stress, creating a rush that some people start to crave. This stress addiction can manifest in the form of taking on too many tasks, constantly seeking challenges, or putting oneself in high-pressure situations to experience the stimulating effects of stress. Over time, chronic stress can lead to burnout, anxiety, and other health problems, making it essential to manage stress effectively. 18. People are more likely to conform in group settings than when they're alone. Social influence is a powerful force. In group settings, people are more likely to conform to the behavior and opinions of others, even if they don't fully agree. This is known as the bandwagon effect, where individuals adjust their behavior to fit in with the group. The need to belong and avoid social rejection is so strong that many people will go along with the crowd, even if it means compromising their own beliefs or preferences. 19. The brain doesn't distinguish between real and imagined fear. Whether you're facing an actual threat or just imagining one, the brain responds the same way. When you think about something that scares you, your brain triggers the fight or flight response, releasing stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This explains why people can feel physical symptoms of fear, like a racing heart or sweaty palms, even when they're just worried about something that may never happen. The mind can create real physical responses from imagined threats. 20. People are more likely to take risks when they feel anonymous. When people feel they are anonymous, such as in large crowds or online, they tend to take more risks. This is known as de-individuation, where individuals feel less accountable for their actions. Without the fear of personal judgment or consequences, people are more likely to engage in behaviors they might avoid if they were identifiable. This phenomenon is often seen in situations like riots, online trolling, or even in group decision-making scenarios where individuals act in ways they wouldn't if they were acting alone. Everyone believes they understand why people act the way they do. But the truth is, the mind works in mysterious ways. What if the actions you take, the words you say, and the thoughts you think aren't as random as they seem? Let's explore some psychology facts that reveal the secrets of human behavior. 1. Your brain can't tell the difference between real and imagined stress. Stress affects both your mind and body. But did you know your brain can't distinguish between real and imagined stress? Whether you're facing an actual threat or simply worrying about an event in the future, your body reacts the same way. Your heart rate rises, your muscles tense, and your mind races. This is because the brain's survival system, known as the fight or flight response, kicks in. The next time you're stressed about something you're imagining, try to remember that your body doesn't know the difference and take a moment to breathe and calm down. 2. Being around certain people can make you feel tired. Ever felt drained after spending time with someone? It's not just your imagination. The people around you can significantly affect your energy levels. Those who are constantly negative, anxious, or emotionally heavy can sap your mental and physical energy. Your brain tends to mirror the emotions of others, which means if you're around someone who's feeling low, your mood can drop too. This emotional drain can leave you feeling tired, even if you haven't physically exerted yourself. 3. Small talk isn't as meaningless as it seems. Small talk is often brushed off as shallow or insignificant, but it actually plays an important role in human connection. Engaging in casual conversation helps to build rapport and trust. When you talk to someone, even about trivial things, your brain releases chemicals like oxytocin and dopamine, which help create bonds and feelings of connection. These little exchanges can make you feel more connected to the people around you, contributing to your sense of belonging in a social environment. 4. Laughter can help reduce pain. It may sound unbelievable, but laughter is a powerful tool when it comes to pain management. The act of laughing triggers the release of endorphins, which are natural painkillers produced by your brain. These chemicals can help reduce the physical sensations of pain and increase feelings of happiness and well-being. That's why people who laugh in the face of adversity often seem to cope better with challenges. Laughter is not just a reaction to joy, but a natural response to stress and pain, helping you manage both physical and emotional discomfort. 5. You're more likely to help others when you're in a good mood. When you're feeling happy, your brain's social circuits are more active, making you more likely to engage in pro-social behavior, like helping others. Positive emotions increase empathy and kindness, so when you're in a good mood, you're more inclined to offer support, comfort, or even small gestures of kindness to those around you. It's not just about being nice. It's your brain's way of making social connections stronger and more rewarding, benefiting both you and the people you help. 6. Your mind makes decisions before you're aware of it. Have you ever had a gut feeling about something and later realized you were right? That's because your brain often makes decisions before you're even consciously aware of it. Your subconscious mind processes information much faster than your conscious mind. In fact, research has shown that your brain makes decisions up to 7 seconds before you're aware of them. This is due to the brain's ability to pick up on patterns, read the environment, and anticipate outcomes based on past experiences. So, when you get that sudden feeling that something is right or wrong, your mind has already processed all the relevant information without you realizing it. 7. Writing things down can help you remember better. When you write something down, you're not just creating a record for later. You're helping your brain process and store information more effectively. Studies show that people who take notes by hand retain information better than those who type. Writing engages different parts of your brain, enhancing your ability to recall details later. Whether you're jotting down your thoughts during a meeting or making a to-do list, the act of writing helps your brain organize and remember the information more clearly. 8. Your posture affects your mood. It's not just what you think or how you feel that affects your emotional state, it's also how you hold your body. Research has shown that adopting an open, confident posture can actually boost your mood and self-esteem. When you stand tall, with your shoulders back and your chest open, your brain receives signals that increase feelings of power and positivity. On the other hand, slouching or adopting a closed posture can make you feel more anxious, insecure, and even sad. So, the next time you're feeling down, try adjusting your posture. It may help lift your mood. 9. People tend to mimic the emotions of others. Humans are wired to connect with one another, and one of the ways we do this is through emotional mirroring. If someone around you is smiling, you're more likely to smile as well. This process, called emotional contagion, happens subconsciously. Your brain's mirror neurons pick up on the emotions of others and trigger a similar emotional response in you. It's one of the reasons why we often feel closer to people who are positive and happy. It's not just the social connection, but the emotional synchronization that occurs naturally. 10. You remember emotional events better than neutral ones. Have you ever noticed how certain memories, especially those involving strong emotions, stick with you longer than others? This happens because your brain is designed to prioritize emotionally charged events. Whether it's a moment of extreme happiness, sadness, or fear, your brain is more likely to store those experiences as long-lasting memories. This is due to the way emotions activate the amygdala, a part of the brain that plays a key role in emotional processing. So, while you might forget the small details of your day, the emotionally significant moments will stay with you much longer. 11. Overthinking is the curse of intelligence. Intelligent minds have the ability to analyze deeply and see every possible outcome. While this is a gift, it can also be a curse. Overthinking happens when the brain takes its analytical skills too far, creating unnecessary worries and doubts. The more you think about a situation, the more potential problems your mind imagines, leading to paralysis by analysis. It's a tricky cycle where the ability to solve problems becomes the very thing that creates more problems. Learning to stop overthinking is key to making quicker, more effective decisions. 12. Compliments hit harder than cash. It's often said that money makes the world go round, but when it comes to happiness, compliments are more powerful than cash. The human brain values recognition and validation more than material possessions. When someone gives you a compliment, it activates the reward system in your brain, releasing dopamine, the same chemical that makes you feel good when you receive money. So the next time you want to make someone's day, a sincere compliment can do more for them than a bonus or gift. 13. Hearing your name changes everything. There's something powerful about hearing your own name. When someone says your name, it cuts through the noise and grabs your attention. The brain has a special way of processing your name, which makes it stand out more than any other word or sound. It's why marketers and speakers use your name so often. It creates an instant connection and makes the listener feel recognized. Your name is the key that unlocks your identity in conversations, making you feel important and valued. 14. The color blue calms the body. Ever wonder why so many bedrooms in hospitals are painted blue? The color blue has a calming effect on the human brain. It signals safety and tranquility, which is why it's often associated with peaceful environments like the sky and the sea. When you're surrounded by blue, your brain's stress response slows down and your heart rate decreases. This makes blue an ideal color for creating a relaxing atmosphere, whether it's in your home or at a healthcare facility. 15. Emotion tattoos, memory. The brain is more likely to remember events that are tied to strong emotions. Neutral moments tend to fade, but feelings of love, fear, joy, and grief leave lasting imprints. That's why you can vividly recall moments of great happiness or deep sorrow, while the details of a regular day slip away. Emotion acts as a kind of memory glue, strengthening the connection to the event and ensuring it stays in your mind longer. 16. People are drawn to those who make them feel understood. The need to feel understood is a fundamental part of human connection. When someone listens to you without judgment and makes you feel heard, it triggers a sense of comfort and trust. The brain craves validation, and when you meet someone who seems to get you, your bond with them strengthens. This is why we are often attracted to people who share similar thoughts, experiences, or values. They make us feel less alone in the world. 17. Your brain believes memories are reality. Every time you recall a memory, your brain rewrites it. This means that your memories are not as accurate as you might think. Each time you remember something, the details shift slightly, and over time, the memory becomes distorted. This is why eyewitness testimonies are often unreliable, and why your memories can change as you grow older. The brain is less of a recorder and more of a storyteller, constantly reshaping the past to fit the present. 18. Humans can spot faces in nearly anything. One of the most fascinating features of the human brain is its ability to recognize faces even when they're not really there. This phenomenon, known as pareidolia, is why you might see faces in clouds, rocks, or even the front grille of a car. The brain is hardwired to prioritize faces because recognizing emotions and intentions is essential for survival. So when we see a face-like pattern in random objects, it's our brain doing its best to stay connected to others. 19. Your intuition is based on experience. Intuition often feels like a gut feeling or an instinct, but it's actually based on your brain's vast bank of experiences. Your subconscious mind processes and stores information at a much faster rate than your conscious mind. When you're faced with a decision, your brain quickly compares the situation to past experiences, allowing you to make judgments without actively thinking. What we call gut feeling is actually your brain drawing on its previous knowledge and patterns. 20. People are more likely to conform in groups. Humans are social creatures, and one of the ways we connect with others is through conformity. When in a group setting, people tend to follow the actions and opinions of others, even if they don't fully agree. This phenomenon, known as social conformity, is a survival mechanism. Being part of a group once helped us avoid dangers. While this tendency still exists today, it can sometimes lead to poor decision-making or a lack of individuality. However, understanding the power of group influence can help you recognize when you're simply following the crowd rather than thinking for yourself. 21. Visualizing success can improve performance. Whether it's an athlete imagining themselves crossing the finish line or a student picturing their exam answers, visualizing success can actually improve performance. When you visualize yourself succeeding, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if you were physically performing the task. This practice, used by athletes and high performers, helps to prime the brain for success and boosts confidence. It's a powerful technique for achieving your goals without even moving a muscle. 22. Memories are shaped by your emotions, not the facts. When you recall a memory, it's not just the facts that you remember. Your emotions shape how you perceive and store that memory. This is why two people can experience the same event, but remember it in completely different ways. Your emotional response to an event influences how it's encoded in your brain, and that emotional connection can overshadow the actual details. It's why a happy memory might feel vivid, while a neutral one fades away. 23. The sound of your own voice can make you feel different. Have you ever heard your voice recorded and felt surprised by how it sounds? That's because the sound you hear when you speak is different from what others hear. When you speak, the vibrations of your voice reach your inner ear differently than when the sound travels through the air. This discrepancy can sometimes make you feel awkward or self-conscious. However, understanding that your voice sounds different to others can help you become more comfortable with how you communicate. 24. Physical touch can strengthen relationships. A simple touch, like a pat on the back or a hug, can have a powerful effect on relationships. Physical touch triggers the release of oxytocin, a hormone that helps build trust and deepen emotional bonds. That's why physical touch is so important in close relationships. It makes you feel more connected and supported. Whether it's a friendly handshake or a comforting hug, touch plays a critical role in how we connect with others. 25. The placebo effect is real. The placebo effect is a powerful reminder of how the mind can influence the body. When a person believes they are receiving a treatment, even if it's just a sugar pill, their body can respond as if they're getting real medicine. The mind's belief in the treatment activates the brain's healing pathways, improving symptoms even without any active medical intervention. This effect shows how powerful belief and expectation can be when it comes to health and well-being. Have you ever tried to focus on something important, but your mind keeps drifting back to one person? You're working, and suddenly their face appears in your mind. You're watching a movie, and something reminds you of them. You're lying in bed at night, and they're the last thought before you close your eyes. And here's the strangest part. Sometimes it's someone you talk to every day, but sometimes it's someone you haven't spoken to in weeks, months, or even years. Yet somehow, they occupy more space in your mind than people who are physically present in your life. You try to push them away. You tell yourself to stop thinking about them. You distract yourself with work, with friends, with anything. But within minutes, maybe even seconds, they're back. Like a song stuck on repeat. Like a presence you can't escape. Why does this happen? What does it mean when someone is constantly in your thoughts? Is it just obsession? Is it love? Is it something deeper, something spiritual that science can't fully explain? Today, I'm going to reveal the hidden truths behind this phenomenon. And I promise you, what you're about to discover will completely change how you understand your own mind, your heart, and the invisible connections that bind human souls together. The psychology of persistent thoughts. Let's start with what science tells us. When someone is constantly in your thoughts, your brain has formed what psychologists call a cognitive loop. This happens when a person becomes associated with strong emotional experiences, triggering the release of neurochemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, or even cortisol. Every time you think of them, your brain lights up in the same areas that control reward, pleasure, attachment, and sometimes pain. Your mind literally gets addicted to thinking about them, not because you're weak, not because you're crazy, but because your brain has been wired through repeated emotional experiences to focus on this person. The more you felt with them, the deeper the neural pathways, the stronger the emotions, whether love, fear, excitement, or hurt, the more your brain returns to them automatically. It's like a groove carved into stone. Water will always flow through that groove because it's the path of least resistance. But here's what most people don't understand. These persistent thoughts are not random. They are your subconscious mind trying to tell you something you haven't acknowledged yet. Unprocessed emotions demanding attention. When someone dominates your thoughts, it almost always means you have unprocessed emotions about them. Something happened between you that your heart experienced, but your mind never fully understood or accepted. Maybe they made you feel something you've never felt before and you don't know how to categorize it. Maybe they hurt you in a way you never healed from. Maybe you loved them, but circumstances forced you apart. Maybe you're with them, but fear losing them every single day. whatever it is. Emotions are like pressure building inside, and thoughts are how that pressure tries to release itself. Your mind keeps bringing this person up because it's asking you, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to process this? When are we going to deal with this? Until you face those emotions, until you feel them fully and release them, that person will continue to dominate your mental space because your subconscious refuses to let it go until it's resolved. The energy connection theory. Now, let's move beyond psychology into something that science is only beginning to understand. Energy. Everything in the universe is energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your emotions are energy. And when you connect deeply with someone, you create an energetic bond. Have you ever noticed how you can feel someone's presence even when they're not around? How sometimes you think of someone intensely and they text you moments later? How you can sense when something is wrong with someone you love even if they're miles away? This is not magic. This is energetic resonance. When someone is constantly in your thoughts, it could mean your energy field and theirs are still entangled, even if you're not speaking, even if you're not together. The connection remains active on an energetic level. Many spiritual teachers believe that when you think of someone constantly, you are tuned into their frequency, and often they are tuned into yours as well. Your thoughts are not just inside your head, they radiate outward. And when two people think of each other, their energies meet in the space between, creating an invisible bridge that neither time nor distance can break. They are thinking about you too. Here's something that will give you chills. Ancient wisdom and modern metaphysics both suggest that when you can't stop thinking about someone, there's a high probability they're thinking about you too. Thoughts carry vibration. When someone holds you in their mind with strong emotion, whether it's love, regret, longing, or even anger, that vibration travels. Your subconscious picks it up, and suddenly you find yourself thinking about them without knowing why. This is especially powerful with people you've shared intense experiences with, former lovers, best friends, family members, people who knew you at soul level. The connection doesn't just disappear because you stop talking, it remains active in the quantum field, and both of you feel pulls toward each other through persistent thoughts. So if you've been wondering whether they think of you, pay attention to how often and how intensely they appear in your mind. Chances are, your name is crossing their thoughts just as frequently. The mirror of your inner world. Here's a deep psychological truth that might surprise you. Sometimes when someone is constantly in your thoughts, it's not really about them at all. It's about what they represent to you. Carl Jung taught that every person we encounter is a mirror reflecting parts of ourselves back to us. When someone occupies your mind constantly, ask yourself, what qualities do they have that I wish I had? What emotions do they make me feel that I'm missing in my life? What part of my journey do they symbolize? If you constantly think about someone who made you feel free, maybe you feel trapped in your current life. If you think about someone who gave you peace, maybe your life has become chaotic. If you think about someone who challenged you, maybe you've become too comfortable and you're craving growth. Your mind uses their image as a symbol, a reminder, a compass pointing you toward what your soul truly needs. So instead of just longing for them, decode what they're showing you about yourself. That's where the real transformation happens. Unfinished business and soul contracts. Let me share something profound. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. But some people leave such a deep imprint that even their absence feels like presence. And when someone is constantly in your thoughts, it often indicates unfinished business. Maybe the relationship ended before it fully played out. Maybe words were left unspoken. Maybe you never got closure. Maybe you walked away, but your soul didn't agree with that decision. Whatever the case, your subconscious mind doesn't accept incompletion. It will keep circling back to that person until the story feels resolved. From a spiritual perspective, some believe this indicates a soul contract. Before you were born, your soul agreed to meet certain people who would teach you specific lessons. These people shake you, change you, wake you up, and even when they leave, the contract continues energetically until the lesson is fully learned. That's why you can't stop thinking about them. Not because you're weak or obsessed, but because your soul knows the chapter isn't finished yet. There's still something to learn, to heal, or to integrate from that connection. The pain of separation. Sometimes the reason is heartbreakingly simple. You think about someone constantly because you miss them, because losing them, whether through breakup, distance, death, or simply growing apart, created a wound that hasn't healed. Your mind keeps returning to them as a form of resistance against loss. It's like your subconscious is saying, if I keep them alive in my thoughts, they're not really gone. Thoughts become a way to hold on when physical presence is no longer possible. This is especially true for people we love deeply. The brain doesn't just forget love. Love creates neural pathways that can last a lifetime. When that person is no longer accessible, your brain doesn't immediately rewire. Instead, it keeps searching for them, keeps replaying memories, keeps imagining scenarios where they return. This is not weakness, this is grief. This is love that has nowhere to go. And your persistent thoughts are simply your heart's way of processing the unbearable reality of separation. You're in love, even if you deny it. Let's be direct about something many people refuse to admit. If someone is constantly in your thoughts, there's a very strong possibility you're in love with them. Or at the very least, you have deep feelings you haven't fully acknowledged. Love isn't always convenient. Sometimes you fall for the wrong person. Sometimes the timing is wrong. Sometimes circumstances make it impossible. So your conscious mind denies it. You tell yourself it's just friendship, just attraction, just curiosity. But your subconscious knows the truth. That's why you can't stop thinking about them, because love demands attention. It demands acknowledgement, and when you try to suppress it or rationalize it away, it only grows stronger in your thoughts. If this resonates with you, maybe it's time to stop running from it. Stop denying it. At least be honest with yourself about what you feel. You don't have to act on it, but acknowledging the truth will bring you peace that denial never can. Fear and anxiety loops. Not all persistent thoughts come from love. Sometimes they come from fear. If you're in a relationship and you think about that person constantly, it might be because you're afraid of losing them. Your mind is stuck in an anxiety loop, constantly checking, constantly worrying, constantly imagining worst-case scenarios. Or maybe this person hurt you in the past, and your mind keeps returning to that pain as a form of protection. It's trying to warn you, to keep you alert, to make sure you never let someone hurt you that way again. These thoughts are exhausting. They feel intrusive. But they're not meaningless. They're showing you where you're carrying fear, where you haven't healed, where you need to build trust either in them, in yourself, or in the process of life itself. The addiction of unavailability. Here's something fascinating and frustrating. Sometimes you think about someone constantly precisely because they're unavailable. Psychologically, the human mind is wired to want what it can't have. When someone is distant, unclear, inconsistent, or completely out of reach, your brain becomes obsessed with solving the puzzle. This is called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. The uncertainty, the maybe, the what if, keeps your mind hooked. You're not necessarily thinking about them because they're so amazing. You're thinking about them because your brain is stuck trying to figure them out, trying to win them, trying to make sense of the mixed signals. If this is your situation, understand that these persistent thoughts might be more about your need for closure, certainty, or validation than about the actual person. Breaking this cycle requires conscious effort to redirect your attention and fill your life with things that are actually available and reciprocal. The message from your higher self. Many spiritual traditions teach that persistent thoughts about a person are messages from your higher self. Your soul is trying to guide you toward something important, maybe toward healing, maybe toward action, maybe toward release. When you can't stop thinking about someone, sit quietly and ask yourself, what is my soul trying to tell me through these thoughts? Am I being guided to reach out, to let go, to forgive, to love more openly, to set boundaries, to heal an old wound? Your higher self doesn't torture you with thoughts randomly. It's showing you where your attention needs to go, where growth is waiting, where your next lesson lives. Trust that there's wisdom in the persistence, even when it feels painful. They changed your life trajectory. Some people enter your life and change everything. They shift your perspective. They challenge your beliefs. They inspire you to become someone new. And even after they leave, their impact remains. When someone like this is constantly in your thoughts, it's because they represent a turning point in your story. Your mind returns to them because they symbolize transformation. They showed you a version of yourself you didn't know existed. They opened doors you didn't know were there. These people are rare, and your thoughts honor them for the gift they gave you, even if the relationship itself didn't last. The question is, are you living the transformation they inspired, or are you stuck thinking about them instead of becoming who they helped you see you could be? What you should do about it. So you understand why someone is constantly in your thoughts. But what should you actually do about it? Here's your action plan. First, stop fighting the thoughts. Resistance makes them stronger. Instead, observe them. Notice them without judgment. Let them flow through you without attaching stories to them. Second, journal. Write everything you feel about this person. Why they matter. What emotions they bring up. What you wish you could say. Getting it out of your head and onto paper releases pressure. Third, ask the deeper questions. What is this person showing me about myself? What lesson am I meant to learn? What do I need to heal? What action do I need to take? Fourth, take action if appropriate. If you need closure, seek it. If you need to express feelings, consider doing so. If you need to let go, create a ritual. If you need to reconnect, reach out if it's healthy to do so. Fifth, redirect your energy. Fill your life with purpose, passion, projects, and people who are present. When your life is full, obsessive thoughts naturally decrease because your mind has other things to focus on. Sixth, practice mindfulness and meditation. Train your mind to return to the present moment. Every time thoughts of this person arise, gently bring your focus back to your breath, your body, your surroundings. Seventh, seek support. Talk to a therapist, a trusted friend, or a spiritual guide. Sometimes we need outside perspective to break thought patterns we're trapped in. Eighth, give it time. Persistent thoughts. Don't disappear overnight. Be patient with yourself. Healing is not linear. Some days will be harder than others. That's okay. The ultimate truth. Here's what it all comes down to. When someone is constantly in your thoughts, it means they touched something deep within you. They awakened something, triggered something, healed something, broke something, changed something. It means the connection was real. The impact was significant. The experience mattered. And your mind is still processing it all because it was too important to just forget. But here's what you need to understand. Those persistent thoughts are not meant to trap you. They're meant to teach you, to guide you, to transform you. The person is not the point. The growth you're being called toward is the point. So honor the thoughts, learn from them, let them show you what you need to see. And then, slowly, gently, let them evolve. Because you are not meant to stay stuck in thoughts of someone forever. You are meant to integrate the lesson and move forward into the life that's waiting for you. Final words. The next time you find yourself thinking about that person again, don't curse yourself. Don't feel weak. Instead, pause and ask, what are you here to teach me today? What part of me needs attention right now? What is my soul trying to say? Because every persistent thought is a message. Every recurring face in your mind is a teacher. And every moment spent understanding why is a moment spent understanding yourself more deeply. So thank them for occupying your thoughts. Thank them for the lessons. Thank them for being part of your journey. And then, when you're ready, thank yourself for being strong enough to feel it all, to process it all, and to grow through it all. Welcome to Psychology Fact. If this resonated with your soul, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Because understanding the mysteries of the mind and heart is the greatest journey you'll ever take. And I'm here to walk that path with you, one truth at a time.